well celebrated in her home state, the then Cross River state of Nigeria, Martha Ulaeto seems not to have gotten all the recognition and flowers that she deserves across the country, despite her musical finesse and professional delivery of her songs and the well packaged production quality of her albums. You're welcome to the story of the ever delectable and beautiful Nigerian songstress, Martha Ulaeto. Martha Ulaeto hails from Ibeno area of Akwa Ibom State. She was born on July 21st, 1952. She spent her early years in Akwa Ibom State, which was part of Cross River State in Nigeria as at then. She had her secondary education at the popular girls' school in Uyo, the Cornelia Corneli College, where she exhibited traits of her musical talents very early. On completion of her secondary education, Martha got admission to the University of Ife, as it was called then, and now Obafemi Awolowo University. Martha studied under the late Professor Sam Akpabot, who also comes from her own state of origin. Sam Akpabot, who was one of Nigeria's best-known composers, featured sweet-singing Martha as lead role in the 1971 rendition of his composition titled Cynthia's Lament. Her performance in other operatic compositions, such as Adam Fibresima's Opus Jaja, won her a scholarship to the National Conservatory in Athens, Greece, and a subsequent voice training in London, United Kingdom. In 1985, Martha was featured in the BBC as an Africa program of the African Service as one of the persons that has taken on attributes which are not their own, in reference to her versatility as a classical and opera singer. Martha's early learning years under missionaries, Reverend Mothers, and Sisters is largely responsible for her interest in classical music. But that did not in any way stop her from delving into a more commercially acceptable pop genre, which also benefited from her operatic music attributes in her renditions. In the BBC program, she had explained that opera is not the total of what I do. As an opera singer, you also acquire the training of a leader singer. That is, you sing songs in a more refined and classical way. Martha launched into the Nigerian music industry in 1981 with her debut album, Love Me Now, under Olu Aboderin's Skylark Records. Olu Aboderin also owns Punch newspapers. Love Me Now is a collection of songs rendered in Efik, in her native Ibeno dialect, and in English, the standout tracks being Ntiye African Dance, Love Me Now, the title track, and Music Alone, which also enjoyed large rotation across television stations, in the video, and on radio stations. Love Me Now was produced by Sierra Leonean producer Akwa Ibom, who in later life became a politician and was a trade commissioner at the Sierra Leonean High Commission in London until his death in June 2014. Production support came from Lemmy Jackson, Mike Phillips, also known as Michael Abiola Phillips, Chris Cameron, an American session pianist, Randy Hope Taylor, one of UK's finest funk player, Ghanaian saxophonist George Lee, whose real name are Kwame Kojo Lanyo, and Godfrey Wangs on the synthesizers, and Ghanaian drummer Papa Mensah. The album enjoyed a fair rotation across Nigeria, with songs like Ntiye and Music Alone being a staple on Cross River Radio in Calabar, Nigeria. In 1982, Martha released her second album, Everlasting, on her record label, Ula Records. Continuing the dive into pop, soul, and funk, Everlasting contained the title track, Everlasting, EJ Love, Love Trap, rendered in Igbo language, Adurami in Yoruba, Nitoisa Memananyim in Ibibio, and Take My Hand in English. The production credit on this album goes to guitarist Mike Abiola Phillips, who also drafted in British session men like drummer Trevor Morrell, pianist Andy Linwood, guitarist Errol Reid, percussionist Bobby Stigner, and saxophonist Mike Eve. The third album, titled Christmas Africana, was released in 1983. This was essentially a collection of Christmas theme songs rendered in African way, in both English and other African languages. This album featured a mainly Nigerian production crew, including T-Mac, Lemmy Jackson, Eugene Edema, Friday Pozo, and Richard Buckner, also Alhaji Yakim on the talking drums. In 1985, African Rise, Mata's last album, was released, an album that was packed with songs that reflected the deplorable situation in Africa, such as war against starvation, and other songs that inspire the belief in nationhood, such as Prayer of Abuja, whose writing credit goes to the late General Maman Vasta. African Rise and A Place to Nigeria are other songs on the album. The production credit in this album went to George Lee Lanyon, the Ghanaian saxophonist, who was part of the production of the first album. It is of interest to note that American former track and field superstar Carl Lewis featured on this album as a backup vocalist. Carl Lewis was the star of the 1984 Los Angeles Olympic Games and has won a total of 9 Olympic gold medals, his last being appearance in 1996 Olympics. Carl Lewis, for music lovers and music historians, we all know is a musician also, adding to his credit as an athlete. He has 2 albums in his name as an artist. The album also had contributions from Kenny Cole, Tracy King, Pamela Douglas, and popular Nigerian drummer and percussionist Remy Kabaka on the roll, amongst other international session musicians. Remy Kabaka had been part of Afrocore Foundation, Ginger Baker's Air Force, and also featured with the band called Third Wall, different from the reggae band, but included British songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and singer Steve Winwood, who is renowned for his massive hit song Higher Love. On the 25th of May 2023, African Music Mata Olatao's song featured on the playlist of music introducing a BBC live session with Jack Kane, which features under the radar artists from around the world. So that's how it's been with a super singer Mata Ulaeto, who has been living in the United Kingdom over the years. It's been a pleasure bringing to you the bits we know about her. If you like what we are doing, kindly subscribe to this channel as we continue to share nostalgia of our growing up years and also leaving something for the generations to come. Thank you.